Hello, nerds, and welcome to another episode of me watching my DVDs. Um, so I listened back over to yesterday's, and I feel like I kind of choked a bit halfway through. There's a bit of stuttering to try and make my point, so I'm going to try and do less kind of sort of, because that doesn't do any good. Come to realize I don't finish all of my points either, so I'm going to work on that. And next time I have a guest, we'll try and stay on topic more. Although, I didn't think that we went too far off topic. Still, that could be the case. Now, this show's episode, I'm going to be looking at The Burbs. And I was thinking of changing it, but I figured, I already announced that I'd do The Burbs, so here I am doing The Burbs. And the reason that I wasn't The Burbs isn't really the one that I want to do today. I'm interested to go back and watch it because I haven't seen it in a while, but there's definitely movies that I haven't watched in longer. Because the problem is with Tom Hanks movies is I come back to them quite regularly. So it would be good for me to actually do a Tom Hanks movie, I think, because, I'm a big fan of the Hanks, but the problem is, two of my favourite Tom Hanks movies would be Big and The Terminal, and I watched both of those last week. So, or when did I watch them? Yeah, not that long ago, and not for the show. I just kind of watched them for me, and now I kind of feel like I can't really talk about a movie I haven't seen in a week and how I feel differently about it, and talk about them afterwards. Although those might not even be interesting episodes because my opinion of Big and The Terminal have never changed. So it'll be I'll summarize those two future episodes right now in 20 seconds. I'm pretty sure those movies are amazing, and I'm going to come out of it saying, yep, I love those movies, they're amazing. I'm going to go watch them. Come out of it, oh wow, those movies are totally amazing. I was so right. I'm going to go watch them again. See ya. That'll be it. It's, yeah, so, but The Burbs isn't, close to one of my favorites. See, the thing is with The Burbs, I've got really mixed feelings about it, because it's it makes me think of the movie Brick, because there are two movies where every time I watch them, I feel completely different about how I feel. I feel completely different about how I feel. I feel completely different about the film every time. It just depends on what sort of mood I'm in that day when I put it on. And yesterday I was feeling quite optimistic about putting it on. Today I'm feeling a little more, I'm a little more suspicious. But I'll still watch it, I remember a few of the japes, Tom Hanks, was always delightful. There's a good cast in that movie. I haven't seen it in a while, and I think the last time I watched it, I thought it was very good. But also the last time I watched it, I don't think I was living in, this kind of small town, and kind of where people sort of unironically kind of behave in the same way, which I don't know if that adds to the humor or takes away from the humor, or maybe I'm becoming one of them, and I just wouldn't realize I'm laughing at myself. That could be, but yes, this is like a Joe Dante movie. I haven't actually seen a lot of his stuff, and that probably makes me a bad film watchy guy because he's supposed to be one of the ones that loads of people kind of if you're supposed to be into film, you're supposed to be like, oh yeah, I totally watch Joe Dante. Oh, David Lean, I watch him all the time, And then David Lynch. I don't think anyone named David Fincher. Yeah, that works. I don't know. There's probably more Davids, but my brain isn't working. I know David Lee Roth, but I don't think he ever made a film. I'd like to watch it if he did. I imagine it would be a coked out extravaganza of glamour and hair. But so I feel like I'm a bad film guy for not having watched enough Joe Dante. But I've seen Gremlins. 1 and 2. Again, it's been years since I watched those, but I remember liking them. They got their little Mogwais, Gizmo, you know, that old guy who keeps Gizmo, the dad making wacky inventions, like the juicer or whatever, that they all stink. Oh, man. But yeah, like, so Gremlins is cool, and, you know, I do like the Burbs. I remember I bought the Burbs before I'd ever seen it, I think. No, that's not true. I think I saw it, like, because I used to, you know, try to make a point to watch Tom Hanks movies. There's a couple I haven't seen, but, you know, I should get onto that. But, I remember watching Burbs for the first time on, what was it, like, it wasn't Turner Classic Movies. It was like Movie Max or something like that, you know, and Foxtel back in Australia. And, yeah, I was like, I used to, whenever I had school holidays, I'd just stay up and watch weird movies that were on late. That sounds weird. And, but no, like, because they'd show loads of shit that you hadn't seen before, or that they wouldn't put on during the day, because all the daytime stuff would be mainstream, kind of like fucking King Arthur with Keira Knightley and fucking, you know, big movies like that. This is just before the superhero movies became a thing, so I forget what fucking big budget sort of nonsense was being thrown on the telly at that time. But yeah, so it was all kind of the late ones would be all the obscure, weirder, less popular kind of cult comedy sort of things, which, you know, was where I saw this for the first time. And I thought it was fucking shit. I was like, wow, Tom Hanks, he can make a bad movie just like everyone else. I realised that statement was true when I watched the Man with One Red Shoe, and when I watched The Da Vinci Code. No, the Angels and Demons, I think, was way worse than The Da Vinci Code. That sucked. And Larry Crown should have been so much better than it was. But let's not go there. I'm getting carried away. But yeah, I remember thinking, like, the Burbs, fucking, like, this movie stinks. It's like, you know, I got the jokes, but I don't think, I wasn't, like, I think I just expected it to be a different film when I put it on. I think I was expecting it to be, like, a bit wackier than weird. And, or maybe not. I don't know. I think I was just expecting Big 2 or The Money Pit all over again. Which, you know, wouldn't be a problem. But I think the problem there is that, you know, it's like I came in with a predetermined idea of what I wanted the film to be, and when it wasn't that, I was really critical of it. So then the last time I watched it, I was like, oh, well, this movie fucking blows boat, people. And, no, I've seen it a couple times since then, actually, because I went to put it on the second time around. I was like, this is a lot different to how I remembered it, you know, and it gave me a few chuckles and all this stuff. And then it was, like, the third or fourth time I came back to it, I was, really fucking surprised at how much I liked it. So I'm hoping it's like a case of that again, because I'm hoping I haven't built up my expectations too much, because I do remember it, like, fondly now. I think of it as a good film, but, like, I'm worried that I might have just done the complete thing that I was guilty of doing before, where I come in thinking it's going to be something completely different, and walking out being like, whoa, wow, yeah, the Burbs, because with Brick, I changed my opinion every single time I watched Brick. Like, the first time, I thought it was amazing, went out and bought it, watched it maybe a year later, if that, and hated it. Like, genuinely, I was like, this isn't the... Like, how did I fucking enjoy this at all? Then I watched it a third time, and I found it very middling. I need to watch it fourth. I think that would be a good one to do. I'm not going to do that for a while, though, because it's a bit too recent for my liking. I know I can definitely go older, so I should probably do that before before I start doing those ones. So I guess I'd like to jump into the Burbs. I'm clearly a bit out of it today if I'm getting my Tom Hanks movies mixed up. But there's so many good ones. Alright, well, I've been waffling on for about 10 minutes now. Today's episode's probably going to be a shorter one, after the last two made it to an hour. But who cares, you just go with the flow. So now, I think I'm going to take a breather here. I might go eat a sandwich, and then I'm going to throw on the Burbs. And I will come back and give you my verdict shortly. So, hold on to your horses, gang. Okay, so I'm back from watching the Burbs. Although, to be honest, it took a little bit longer than I thought it would. About 48 hours longer. Because I just got caught up doing other things, Sometimes you just go to watch a movie and life happens. But, I managed to play a bit of catch-up there. So I don't really remember the first half of this, so it's going to be a hard one to recap. But I figured, it was probably just talking about how great Tom Hanks is. I'll listen to it when I'm done and just make sure that it all makes sense. I won't change it if it doesn't, but fuck it. So first thing, I think I remember saying that The Burbs, to me, was one that I always had mixed feelings about when I watched it. And then the first time I watched it, and I didn't really dig it, and then I liked it progressively more and more. And, I stand by that, because I'm amazed I haven't watched that movie in a while, because it's fantastic. And I remember the last time thinking it was fantastic, and this time it's it's probably even better than I remembered it before. It's just one of those movies that keeps getting better. This could be my love for Tom Hanks, no, I think I call a spade with Tom Hanks. Like, I acknowledge that The Man with One Red Shoe stinks, but this is definitely up there. I used to put The Money Pit before this, but now I'm not so sure. I'd feel like I'd have to say The Burbs, but then again, next when I fucking follow up and do The Money Pit, I'll probably have a whole different fucking bunch of things to say about why that's the best Tom Hanks movie of the era. I mean, it's not the best Tom Hanks movie. Big is, but everyone knows that. And I was super. I don't get how I didn't like it the first time I watched it. Like, I must have been an idiot. Like, how old was I? I can't even remember. But God, I really didn't get jokes then. I was just a dum-dum. A stupid wiener dum-dum. Like, to not like the Burbs. Criminy. That's just it's like the lamest thing you can do. Not like the Burbs. And I don't like to be lame. I like to keep up with the cool kids. Or so I think. So, anyway, just to kind of talk about some of the things that sort of stuck out to me. That old crappy Universal logo at the start of it. It's not even so much a matter of just the Universal logo had anything to do with it. I just love how those logos kind of change over time, and also the caliber of technology, the quality, because it's like you look at the planet, spinning around in the Universal logo there, and it's all rubbish. And then you look at even Transformers when they're looking at shots from space and things like that. Technology is pretty cool. But the thing is, it doesn't necessarily make your movie any good, because Transformers stinks, and The Burbs is awesome. One thing that kind of threw me in the first 5 minutes is Carrie Fisher being in the film. And it's the same as when she shows up in Blues Brothers, and it's the same as when she shows up in what's that other movie? I had one lined up. I don't know that many Carrie Fisher films. Fuck off, leave me alone. I find it weird when she's not Princess Leia, because most of the time I've seen her is from rewatching Star Wars, because I wouldn't even consider myself, a huge Star Wars guy, but I'd still say that, I rewatch them quite a lot, because, they're some of those movies that you can rewatch, and so it's really, I think it'd be less weird for me if in every other role she was just dressed as Princess Leia. Like, you just accepted that she's Princess Leia. and then she's just doing her business. Like I say, oh yeah, Princess Leia, living in the suburbs, married to Tom Hanks. Sound, it'd just, it'd remove a lot of effort on the audience's behalf, I think, to have to kind of to get used to it. Because I think that was probably the biggest obstacle for me. It took me like 4 minutes, which was a noticeable 4 minutes, but still a good 4 minutes because that movie is terrific all the way through. Another thing I picked up is that just some people are destined to look old. Like you got all these larrikins running around, but then like Carrie Fisher, like she never looked like she was supposed to be in her 20s. She looked like she was supposed to be like in her 30s. I'd say that she was destined to look 40. And it's the same with Bruce Dern. Like, can you imagine that guy ever looking young? Like in young photos of him, or just they must look like, even if like he was born in a different era and he was like a teen nowadays. If you took a photo of him, he'd look like an old man dressed up young, I think. He's just got an old head. And there's other people who kind of have that, who are guilty of that as well. But, like Clint Eastwood was, like, he was younger. He was never young. Was there a young Morgan Freeman? It's like him and Anthony Hopkins were both 60 when they first existed. I think it's like they evolved out of trees or something like that. They weren't, and then they were. If that makes any sense. That's the dumbest, probably. Corey Feldman. There you go. He is perfect for it, and he's in the movie. Because that's why I was thinking it. I thought about Bruce Dern, like he must have always been old. But Corey Feldman, he has a little, like even as a teen in this, and when he was in the Goonies, when he's in the Lost Boys, he has this little gremlin, goblin-y man face. It's like you look at his face and you just hear the noise. Just you can imagine him like kind of trying to sell you fucking postage stamps from a street corner, like a little frog face weirdo. And the Frog Brothers as well, I suppose. So that's yeah, and he does a lot of acting with the eyebrows. I kind of noticed, but when did he stop being famous? Like he showed up. Well, I don't know when he showed up. I mean, I know him from this and the Goonies and the Lost Boys, and then I saw that he was in the Lost Boys 2 and 3, which came out like 2 or 3 years ago, because there was such high demand for them. I know that he had a rap career, thanks to I know that from YouTube, and he did something with Corey Haim, the 2 Coreys or something. They had a reality show or something for a while, but long past them. But like, it's like he just kind of stopped being, relevant. And I wonder, like, I wasn't around when that happened. I think that was kind of like, or I was, I think that happened, sort of before my time. When was the Burbs actually made? This would be a good thing to look into, because I should know these things. There you go. This is why I don't know. The Burbs came out the year I was born, so it only makes sense that I wouldn't really be up to scratch with the disappearance of Corey Feldman's career. Not that I'm like, the world's biggest Corey Feldman fan, but I'm just curious as to, did he ever do anything? When did he stop doing good things? When did he, the Goonies is good, and the Burbs is good, and the Lost Boys I'm pretty sure Sax playing vampire, which is pretty cool. So at some point, his career just took a fucking steep nosedive, and that was it. And it's like, did he totally go like Lindsay on it or something? that was that. And or was it just the world decided overnight that they didn't need any Corey Feldmans anymore? Or did Macaulay Culkin come in and steal his thunder? Because, Macaulay Culkin was probably the greatest child star of all time. And, I would be willing to, fight anyone who said otherwise. Because, come on. Like, who are you kidding anyway? Who's better child? You're going to say, like, Haley Joel Osment? Alright, maybe he was technically a better actor or whatever, but he didn't have the spunkiness that Kevin McAllister has. Home Alone 1 and 2 are like the best movies ever. And then, you got the good son. Richie Rich, he has his own McDonald's. Crazy. Macaulay Culkin, Uncle Buck. He's just such a wacky. So I'm just trying to look over, obviously IMDb is the place to go. And I'm just trying to find anything Feldman-y, anything of importance after the Burbs. And no, nothing. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Loaded Weapon. That doesn't make sense to me that the Burbs would be, the last good thing you ever do. Because the Burbs is awesome. I suppose maybe he just, he couldn't do the, I suppose no one wants to hire a young person who looks old, I guess. Maybe it was amusing when he was a child. Like, hey, look, this child has a man face. And then they're like, hang on, now it's just weird. Now he's just a man with an older man's face. And the good thing, I guess, for him is that he was able to grow into his face. But the bad thing is that, his career was already killed by then. So it's like by the time he started looking age appropriate, that was it, Game, set, match. I've been talking an awful long time about his little old man face. One thing that resonated with me in this film is that Tom Hanks' lazy speech, where he's talking about, like, he's taking his vacation and he doesn't want to go off to the lake. He just wants to stay home in his pajamas, lounge around, listen to the game, drink 100 beers, and smoke the occasional cigar. That's living the dream. That's it's ahead of its time. Everyone's like, yeah, what a curmudgeon and all that. But, that's pretty much like how people live nowadays. With the power of the internet and Netflix, no one wants to go anywhere. And I like that. I respect that. Although he does go at the end after going crazy and blowing up the other people's house. I think, I love Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks is like my hero, and I don't think, it's his ability to sell the ridiculous so well, I think. His tantrum at the end of this film is amazing. Absolutely amazing. I just thought this whole film was terrific. All the performances, actually, like, his two buddies, Bruce Dern and the guy who plays Art, whoever that is, I feel really bad now. I want to find out his name because he deserves it for doing such a great performance. But the whole kind of like little school gang thing that they've got going. Rick Ducommun, yeah, they're just an amazing team. All Can Ray come out to play? And his wife telling them off. Just this whole, like, immature schoolboy vibe that's captured in the film is absolutely brilliant. And just the japes they get up to. Hanging out and drinking with teenagers at night. We're sneaking out so we can smoke a cigar. They're hanging out with a teenager. And, talking about the ghost stories of the guy who killed someone and burned down his house and all this jazz. It's reminiscent of the scene in Home Alone where they're telling, where Buzz is telling them about the shoveler who, like, has dead bodies or something in his garage, and except he's a grown man, which just makes it that much better. They all sell it really well, actually. It's like all the performances by the lead cast are fantastic. Yeah, I really, and it's just all the malarkey of them being like acting out. Only that whole world is captured really well, actually. Of just the small town weirdos. I live in a small town. I'd like to think that I sort of actively didn't want to be a small town weirdo, and I think that by doing that I've probably become a small town weirdo. So it's only a matter of time before I'll wind up in the paper for, like, blowing up a neighbor's house or something like that. Not that I dislike my neighbours or I threaten them or think any of them are murderers, but if some suspicious character moves in, then I'll know what to do. I've picked up a trick or two from this humdinger. I like. I thought it was kind of inconsistent. The baddies, you got like. No, I suppose for the film, you know what, I'm just being picky now. Now that I think of it, it makes perfect sense, and it's like all the camera work and all the stuff and all the sound effects and storms and lighting. It's so the acting is so overly dramatic, just because life is so mundane. And then you've got like the hills have eyes kind of ginger hillbilly guy, who's he looks like he's kind of sort of. No, I can't think of a nice way to put it, but I can't think of anything clever. And even if I'm going to be gross, I may as well be clever. So if I can't be clever, then I'll just be like, yep, ginger, hills have eyes, he'll be a lot of the only ginger in the film, of course, ginger discrimination. And then you got the Igor guy, and then the sharp doctor. And it's kind of weird, because he's supposed to be like, oh yes, I'm a doctor and I do art. Well, except he's Romanian. So, but to live in a shit house like that, it's like come on, dude. Like, if you're supposed to be this well-respected doctor, keep up. You could do a little better at keeping up appearances. Considering you murdered people to take this house, and you've let it go to shit, and you make noise at 4 a.m. that wakes up the neighborhood. You'd probably be smart enough to sort of put a little bit more effort in, to blending in, and also, I suppose when the jig is up or supposedly up and top, but it's not even up. The jig is, it's nearly up. It's surfacing after the house has been blown up. So no skeletons or anything like that have been found. And there's, Tom Hanks just basically saying we're crazy and they're innocent. And after admitting that you're innocent, to get into the ambulance and accuse him suspiciously, and then to attack him and try and murder him there at what is already an undiscovered crime scene. That's a guy not really, prepared to be a criminal, I think. You can't be that good a criminal if you're trying to murder people in the back of a van at a crime scene. And if you, give up yourself so easily like a Bond villain. I suppose that's part of the vibe of the film. It out-clevered me again. What a great film. I'm such a huge fan of this film. I'm absolutely going to recommend it to everyone I know and who has a sense of humor. I don't think my sister's seen it, so that's great that I get to offer her up something. And I offer it to you, humans, as well. If you don't like this film, I feel bad. Like, not for me, not for recommending it, because it is great. But if you don't, get it or don't like it, then I just feel like you're missing out. It's like chocolate ice cream, or ice cream. You ever meet someone who doesn't like ice cream, and you don't get it, but it just kind of makes you sad a bit. And you're just like, oh, but why don't you like ice cream? Like, oh, but it's like cold and delicious, and eat it with a spoon or on a cone. Like, make up your mind. And I'm like, yeah, but if you really tried, you could eat ice cream with a fork too. That's the great thing with it. You can wait for it to kind of get mushy and drink it. Ice cream. I wouldn't do that because that's gross. But when someone says they don't like ice cream, it just makes you like a bit sad inside. And when someone doesn't like the Burbs, it just makes me a bit sad. So I really hope that everyone likes the Burbs, because You know, it's like the ice cream of movies. Although, maybe that's an unfair comparison. No, Jurassic Park probably be the ice cream. No, that's, you know, too tropical, really. I don't know what the ice cream of movies would be. This is a stupid thing. Clearly, I've, nothing to talk about, so I'm waffling about the ice cream of fucking movies like a dickhead. Yeah, I think maybe I'll just draw it there at that, saying that I love the Burbs. I think it's, fantastic. Out of all of the films that I've been watching so far, it's probably the one I've enjoyed. Actually, no. This has just been a really good week for as far as movies go. I haven't decided what film to do next. So I think I might leave it open to suggestions. Otherwise, I'm going to just have a rummage through my DVD selection before I decide to do my next episode, and that will be that. Now, this with the whole suggestions thing, I don't really know if I'm going to take the suggestions. It's not really a democracy. It's just a matter of if something strikes me as a good idea. Also, I need to actually own it on DVD in order to do it. That's part of the process. I'm not going to give a list of my DVDs, but I have a fair selection that if you throw enough, something will stick. So yeah. And what else? Oh yeah, I'm no longer going to be really using SoundCloud to put stuff up because there's not a whole mess of room on there for me, and like I said, I'm a cheapskate, so this will probably be the first one that's only on YouTube until I can find another sort of way to get up just the audio files, which is, what I'd like to keep it, because you don't need to see a picture of me flipping off some swans. No one needs that in their life, not even the swans. Like that was a hard day for them. They don't need a reminder. Alright, so yeah. Alright, yeah, I think I'm pretty much done. So, I guess this was just a short episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time with a film that is undecided, because I'm too lazy to go downstairs and have a look through my collection. So, farewell.